going, everybody? Welcome to another edition here of a movie review on Big Gold Belt Media with your boy, the animated guru, the host of the Retro Cartoon Rewatch, Damian G, where I typically take cartoons from the 70s and the 2000s. I watch them back in real time and I let you know whether or not they suck. But for Big Gold Belt, we have a very interesting review that I never thought I would have to do because I kind of gave up on this show way back in 2015, 16, not realizing it still kind of was on. And I'm talking about the Venture Brothers. They had a film. Did you know they had a film? Because I sure as hell didn't. Did you know they lasted until 2018? I sure as hell didn't because I tapped out around 2015, 2016. But the Venture Brothers, Radiant is the blood of the Baboon Heart. That's a mouthful. But what this does, it ties the ending of the series in a nice little bow that's a love letter to all the fans that love this show on Adult Swim. This picks up shortly after the end of season 8 in continuity, and the gang's all here. Dr. Venture's here, Brock's here, the boys are here, the Monarch is here, Mrs. Monarch is here, and the cast of characters continue. And honestly, there are some characters I did not even know were still around or even existed. And I'm not going to spoil too much. All I'm going to say is that every trope that the show was known for is at play here. Every superhero spoof, every spy action rip, every kind of juvenile hero nonsense is in this film. There's still some unresolved beef between the Venture Brothers. There was some falling out at the end of 2018. I'm not going to spoil it, but go back and watch it. And it rears its head here in this movie. But what I didn't expect while watching this was to experience a dive into the psyche of man and what matters to us as people and what our mind tells us matters. And if I'm losing you and I'm thinking too deep into it, I'm sorry. But if you look at the journey that everybody took in this damn show, from beginning to end, there is a catharsis, there is acceptance of life, there is finding your passion, there's knowing where you belong, there's coming to grips with your own version of reality as well as actual reality. There's reinventing of oneself. There's a whole lot, there's even a Maury Povich, you are not the father, you are the father instance. There's a lot of random things to tie this together, and I never would have thought in a million years I'd get a psychological talking to by this movie. Even with the really eccentric title, because let's think about it. This title, Radiant is the blood of the Baboon Heart. Picturing a baboon's heart in my hand, and it's radiating. That's what I got from it. But I'm going to tell you, aside from the big lesson I learned, was it funny? To me, no. Was it WTF moments? Absolutely. Absolutely, there was a whole bunch of WTF moments. There was a lot of reminding me of things that I experienced when I was younger character-wise, like Jefferson Twilight, for instance, who I loved as a character. But if you know who Fred Williamson was, that's exactly who he's ripping off. There was an ode to Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy that I didn't think I'd expect to see this in the movie. That completely surprised me. Jane Lynch makes an appearance here. She might be spoofing Carole Baskin. She might not. I never knew there would be a show called Follow That Bikini. You see, there's a lot of stuff here where you're just thinking, the fuck? What? And that is what I was meant. That's what I was left with in this entire show. Another highlight of the show, Clancy Brown as Red Death. So think of it as the Red Skull meets Mistress Death, or basically how he looked in the Infinity Saga. I loved his character. Not hearing him as the typical gruff, angry security guard, the man in charge. What he was in John Wick 4 also. He does not play that role. He plays so wittingly sarcastic and so not like him that made me think, oh shit, like, okay, He wasn't even Lex Luthor in this. It was more, oh, he's got some interesting depth to him. So think of him as the devil meets the Red Skull meets My Little Pony. And to whoever's watched the show, it's going to make perfect sense. We still got Mrs. Monarch, who, for whatever reason, still is drawn really sexily like Jackie Onassis with the voice of a 5-pack-a-day smoker. But she was one of the best parts of this movie. She's now head of the guild. She's running things by the book. She's trying to balance her work-home life with the Monarch, who has lost all zest for life because he doesn't know where he stands anymore in his battles against Dr. Venture. There is a lot of come-to-Jesus moments in this movie, and man, even between Dean just finding his own true self after the events of the end of season 8, just a lot to really take in. Mantilla, who, if you're watching this movie, I thought, oh shit, this is a really fucking interesting character. Very reminiscent of, I want to say, the White Queen, Emma Frost. Especially there's a flashback scene involving a character that looks really like Emma Frost in her diamond form. But it's tying all these things together. Like I said before, we got the Vampire in Brooklyn reference. We got the Emma Frost reference. We got a Hellfire Club reference in this. Safe to say, it's got something for everybody in this film. There's even J.K. Simmons playing a spoof on the Nick Nolte character from the Ang Lee Incredible Hulk. So when I say there's something for everybody here, there is definitely something for everyone. Does it make any bit of sense most of the show? No. Does it make any bit of sense as you're going through the rest of this? No. There's also a post-credit scene that makes you think, is this the end? Really? Or is this not the end? To leave it on one of those cliffhangers. Maybe it'll get picked up again. Maybe it won't. There's beef between Hank and Dean. Does it get resolved? And how it gets resolved? Kind of in a weird Doctor Strangean way. Kind of works itself out. But there's something for everyone. And there were parts of this where I really enjoyed myself. But to be quite frank, it wasn't that funny. So if I had to give this a rating, which I don't like to do, but if you've seen me do reviews here, I'll do it this way. Graphically, animation-wise, I give it a 9. It looked fucking amazing for what it's supposed to be. It looked amazing. Voice acting, that's a 10. Normally, I'm really hard on the voice acting because as someone who used to be a voiceover artist, I kind of have a weird way of looking at it. But from top to bottom, this was a well-acted film, and I would never have thought, with all the cartoons I reviewed in the last 3 years, that this would have fit my bang. So you're probably thinking, well, if the graphics are a 9 and the voice acting's a 10, why didn't you find this interesting? Because it felt like I was watching movie 42. Everything was being thrown against the wall to get everything in. Very reminiscent of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where you put through so many Easter eggs just to get everything into the movie that it wound up fucking up the entire plot and the pacing. So I'm going to give that a 2. So overall, I'm giving this film probably a B- when I wanted to give it a B+, but I'd say a B- is a really good grade to give this film. So I'm going to say my favorite characters in this whole movie, it was J.K. Simmons' Ben. Like I said, it's the weird spoof on Nick Nolte's, I want to say, David Banner from the original Incredible Hulk movie. I want to say Clancy Brown as Red Death was amazing because I didn't expect to hear Clancy Brown in this kind of realm. It took me off guard. Let's just put it that way. Patrick Warburton is always good as Brock Sampson. You know, he's the thing that pulls you in because of the voice, because of the presence. But overall, everybody else, again, Jane Lynch as Bobby St. Simone, and you have to watch this to understand it. Good. Everybody else was just okay, and that's fine. The Monarch, his character arc wasn't that great, at least in my opinion. I wasn't a big fan of it. Who's the fake Dr. Orpheus, the fake Doctor Strange? Loved the actor playing him. Steven, I want to say Rattazzi. Fuck yeah. Hell to the yeah. The over the top. That's how you would think Doctor Strange, if he went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs a little bit more and became more eccentric, would definitely be Dr. Orpheus. So those are my top people of the movie. I did love just the way things played out at the end to kind of, like I said, to tie it all together. And they hit you with the stinger at the end with this, will they, won't they continue the series? But overall, I'm going to give this a B minus. Is it enjoyable? Yes. Is it always funny? No. What I'm going to do is tell you to either download this on digital or get this on Blu-ray, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the Venture Brothers movie with the ridiculous title of The Radiant Blood. The Radiant is the blood of the Baboon Heart. Say that 3 times fast. But let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm on to something? Please like, please share, please subscribe here to Big Gold Belt on Twitter, Big Gold Belt all over your social medias, Big Gold Belt here on YouTube. And if I can give myself a shout out, Retro Cartoon Rewatch with Damien G, your boy, every Monday and Wednesday on Twitch or YouTube on Damien G Show. And hopefully I'll see you in the movies, for the cartoon movies. I'll see you next time.